The City of Perth is proud to host thought leaders who are at the cutting edge of exponential technologies. The dialogue on the importance of emerging innovation and technology through thought leadership occurring right here in Perth is important for all of us. In order to compete in a dynamic and increasingly integrated global economy, WA must understand and respond to emerging technologies and trends by promoting entrepreneurship and driving an innovation mindset.
When we got started, SpaceCube really was an idea and a community of people that saw an opportunity to come together and create a space where ideas could happen more freely and we could support those ideas as a group. The City of Perth saw that that was a great opportunity to really invest in the startup ecosystem where job creation, having more people in the city, having support for local small businesses and startups was a key priority area.
So the way that we define a startup ecosystem is all of the organisations supporting innovators and entrepreneurs in Western Australia. So our startup ecosystem in WA is still quite nascent and emerging. We've seen a really massive increase in activity, particularly over the last 4 or 5 years. And we're now starting to see a whole bunch of programs, not just in Metro Perth, but in regional WA across all sectors. So things like green tech, ocean tech, XR, VR. And so our startup ecosystem is growing in Western Australia. And we have a goal to be the fastest growing ecosystem in Australia over the coming years.
So West Tech Fest is Australia's longest running technology festival, and the City of Perth have been a founding supporter of the festival and has really enabled the growth to get us to where we are today. It's really important for the world to see Perth and the amazing work that is happening in the technology and innovation ecosystem here in Western Australia.
There's plenty of opportunities now to access networks of support. You can come into Morning Startup for free, hear from an entrepreneur and then meet some other people to start your journey. You can go along to a startup weekend and build a startup over a 48-hour period. The landing pads, so people setting up in WA get access to both space and support to grow their ideas and mentoring.
We know now that you can start and grow and scale a business from anywhere in the world, and why wouldn't you want to do that from the City of Perth? It has everything that you want. It has all of, Western Australia's natural beauty. We are seeing this. We are
The City of Perth is proud
Almost there. I can see we got a few people's. Yeah. Keeping. All right. All right. I'm keeping everyone in suspense. So yeah. Okay. Officially, we're gonna start. So, my name is Peter Kasprzak. I'm a chairman of Innovate Australia, and this is my esteemed colleague, Dr. Adam Osarin, co-founder of Innovate Australia.
So welcome to everyone this afternoon, and thank you for coming, spending your afternoon with us here. Innovate Australia started about actually 10 years ago. In a couple of weeks, we're going to celebrate the 10 years of presence. We organize about 506 events, almost like once a month here in Perth on different topics of innovation. And Peter is going to tell you all about that. Now.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Adam. But first of all, just a few acknowledgements. So first of all, great to see a really good crowd. I really appreciate you coming. And it's fantastic that people are interested in both AI and what's happening overseas as well. So first, our hosts. So I want to acknowledge Consul General of Republic of Indonesia, Listiana Operananta. I'm sorry, and Deputy Lord Mayor, Council Clyde Bevan. So thank you. Also, want to acknowledge our sponsors, because without our sponsors, event like this wouldn't happen. So first of all, City of Perth, which our major sponsor here, and we're very grateful. We have a couple of people here from City of Perth, actually, who were instrumental. There's Marilyn and Raz sitting at the back. So, going down the line, you can see Regional Development Australia Perth, Colleen Yates. She's the CEO of, if it wasn't for Colleen, actually Innovate Australia wouldn't exist, because from the very beginning, she came to our very first event and said, wow, this is okay. Why don't we collaborate? So that's, yeah, Colleen, and they've been around for a long time and actually done a lot of great things in Perth. I already mentioned the consulate. Australian Indonesian Business Council. Phil is who used to be actually still, it's very much involved, but he used to be national president of the council, Mr. Phil Turtle, here, and yeah, and also PKF. It's actually an accounting firm. Some of you might be familiar, and one of our directors. It's actually works for PKF, and it's a great supporter of our organization. His name is Craig Gregory. And we have also organizations run by Phil, which is, I can't even read the small letters, I'm sorry. Yeah, there you are. So thank you for that. Yeah, and the last one, the Positive Impact AI, it's a group organized by Innovate Australia, and I will tell you a little bit more about it. Okay, 1 second. Technical stuff. No, it's no, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Yeah, okay. So this is very briefly. So as you can see on the pictures, so we've done in 10 years a lot of things, quite a variety of programs with quite a variety of fantastic people. You can see Kim Bisley when he was a governor here. Also, I don't know if you can see, but also there was Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, who was here. We give him a license plates Woz, which make him very excited because he said, I got Corvette at home with the which actually was license plates. So he was really excited about small thing like that. So anyway, Barry Marshall on the bottom, if you can see, we made him a special stamp for 10th anniversary of him receiving the Nobel Prize. Actually, that was exactly the date of our very first summit that we organized. So as Adam mentioned, we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. We actually done our 5th anniversary. We done at Daxton Hotel during the Melbourne Cup. So yeah, it was really exciting. So we could pretend that whole country is actually celebrating with us, you know. So yeah, because everybody was excited, and yes. So and on this image, we sort of put a lot of stuff, but basically our biggest probably achievement of Innovate Australia was we create different groups, and then we sort of give it separate life to these groups. But biggest one was you can see HSA, that's Hydrogen Society of Australia. Yeah, it started 6 years ago, just basically as an interest group, and proud to say that today it's actually we actually have a president right now, Adam, and yeah, it's really good organization. Actually has chapters in different states now. It's growing. It's over 100 members and like some prestigious members like Siemens. So it's really good. And you can see on the top of it next to our banner, which ideas into value is our motto. And also if somebody asks you ever, what's the definition of innovation? This is actually the shortest definition of innovation we could find. We started with 3 paragraphs and we were cutting. And now there is a price of 1 liter of connoisseur ice cream of your choice. If you can cut it shorter, but actually still would make sense, I dare you to try it. Yes. Anyway, okay. So, and we also, as you can see on the bottom, December 2nd, it's a World Nuclear Energy Day. So we actually brought it from United States, and we are organizers for whole Australia of this event. And yeah, it's a really great event because it's a webinar. It's an international webinar. And last year we had Oliver Stone. I mean, we had a guy who made the movie with Oliver Stone together. They together made a movie named Joshua Goldstein, and he movie called Nuclear Now. So anyway. Okay, and as I said on the top, it says AI for good and positive impact. AI, hang on, next. Okay, so with positive impact AI, very quickly, as you know, that we had some trouble with road safety in Western Australia. Just recently, there was a summit about it. We have, unfortunately, in the decade, we have the worst record right now. So yeah, so we actually, from Positive Impact AI, we actually put to the minister, we put a program called basically a road safety program based on AI. So far, we're waiting for answer, but you know, it should happen. So, but also addressing like social issues, like this one is called Empowering Young Minds. So basically addressing issues like cybersecurity, cyberbullying, youth mental health, etc. So school bullying. So yeah, and this one's called Developing Our Minds. So some of you might not know, but we actually, the whole world is actually shrinking when it comes to population, although we're still growing, but we're in trouble, you know, when it comes to population. So this is actually idea. But, you know, from family planning to prenatal care to childbirth, etc. So quite, yeah, useful use of AI, actually informational. Okay, and this is what the latest thing what we're trying to do. I promise that's the last one. It's actually what we're trying to do. It's right now to bring to Perth fantastic program from United Nations. As you can see, Mr. Guterres there, and you know, so this is the program is called AI for Good Innovation Factory. We're actually working with the Perth program Mesh Points, which is funded through lotteries, to actually to make this happen. And if we can bring the program to Perth, the idea is it's a pitching program. So basically people who have ideas, businesses that are actually doing something good for using AI, they can pitch, and then the winners actually, which is fantastic, the winners actually go to Geneva in September, in July, and they able to pitch in front of the AI royalty, basically. Last year, there was Sam Altman from OpenAI and people like that. So it's an amazing thing. Not only that, they can win $1 million, you know, so that, yeah, so which is fantastic. So we're actually working on this. That would be great for Perth. Yes, as a city, if we can get it, because that means they only have one representative from each country. So if Perth has it, then we would be actually, you know, dealing directly with UN. Okay. On this positive note, okay, I want to introduce my good friend, Phil Turtle. And Phil, as I mentioned already, Phil, recently he was the national president of Australia-Indonesia Business Council, but also it's on our newly created advisory board as well. And yes, and it's an overall really cool guy. So yes, please welcome Phil Turtle. Hey.
Thank you very much, Peter. I noticed
Yes.
you're using the handheld one.
Yeah, you can
select them when
You
when
can,
you
but
go.
you have to be very close. That's why. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might try and juggle
Yeah.
both. But thank you, Peter. Okay, we'll run with this anyway. Thanks very much, Peter and Adam, for the kind introduction to the event today. And it's wonderful to see such a full room today. But also, as Peter acknowledged earlier, we are being live streamed on YouTube. And I know for a fact some of my friends in Bali are tuned in and watching now. And I wouldn't dare suggest I would rather be in Bali than right here today with you. Of course, those online don't have the good fortune to enjoy the delicious treats that the consulate has put on. I'm not sure how many of you have sampled some now, but I know at the end we'll get a chance to clean up whatever's left on the table. So thank you. Again, welcome everyone to this Innovate Australia AI Innovation Summit, Australia-Indonesia. Again, I'm Phil Turtle, immediate past National President of the Australia-Indonesia Business Council, and also, as Peter spilt the beans, a brand new advisory board member of Innovate Australia. It is my very real pleasure to be your MC this afternoon for what promises to be an interesting, thought-provoking sharing of ideas that will undoubtedly, I did say hopefully in my original draft, but I'm saying undoubtedly, we've got to have a strong call to arms here, undoubtedly lead to some meaningful follow-up action from some of you here in this room and online. At the outset, I do note that the initials of our business council, the AIBC, and indeed our two countries, Australia and Indonesia, fit in very nicely with the theme for today. Before getting underway, I would share, just by way of some housekeeping, there are bathrooms at the bottom of the stairs for anybody who may need those during the event, and also in the event of any emergencies, our consular staff, I'm sure, will lead us efficiently to safety. So we don't need to worry too much about that. I would, though, like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Whadjuk Noongar people, who have inhabited the southwest of Western Australia for over 45,000 years, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We're also fortunate to have a number of VIPs with us today, but of course everybody in the room is a VIP. Well, I would like to make particular welcome to Mrs. Listiana Oprananta, the Consul General for the Republic of Indonesia here in Perth, the Deputy Lord Mayor of the City of Perth, Councillor Clyde Bevan, the Honourable Wilson Tucker MLC, who has been delayed in Parliament but will be joining us maybe just for snacks later on. Peter Kasperzak, and I think I mangled that badly, Peter. I'm just going to go with Peter K for the rest of the event. And of course, to all of our speakers today, both in person and online, who I'll introduce shortly. We, of course, thank Consul General Bulisti for her kind hospitality and that of her consulate for today's event, and thank all of our series and event partners who Peter has already mentioned. And on to the purpose of today, which is to provide a window into the realm of AI, both here in Western Australia and in Indonesia, particularly with respect to generative AI. I have been following developments myself in AI and its precursors for many years, but have already found myself quickly lagging behind the vast pack of so many adopters who are taking AI application to breathtaking levels. And I'm sure we ain't seen nothing yet. In modern times, our two countries enjoy a long-standing and harmonious relationship dating back to the earliest days of Indonesia's independence, some 79 years ago, when we only recently celebrated that great event at Government House with Ibu Listi. But also our First Nations people in the northwest of Western Australia traded produce from the sea with Indonesian fishermen several centuries ago. So our relation goes back many hundreds of years. And this relationship has borne a diversity of two-way trade and investment across many sectors. And this rapidly accelerating field of AI is an exciting new and rich vein of opportunity to tap into. I have no doubt that our audience today is generally quite familiar with some of the AI tools that are omnipresent in our everyday lives, whether using Google Maps, ChatGPT, Zoom Assistant, or being guided in streaming your favorite movies and videos on Netflix and Spotify. It really is everywhere. And many too would be using a broad array of AI productivity and creativity tools, and there's no escaping AI, and it becomes remarkably more capable and accessible almost every day. With that, and as a segue to our program today, I'd like to cue a brief video showcasing the Perth innovation ecosystem. Peter. Oh. Oh, no, I can see me. That's not the video, I promise. That is not the video. It's very embarrassing, Peter. Yeah, thank you, very kind. Apologies for the slight delay.
The City of Perth is proud to host thought leaders who are at the cutting edge of exponential technologies. The dialogue on the importance of emerging innovation and technology through thought leadership occurring right here in Perth is important for all of us. In order to compete in a dynamic and increasingly integrated global economy, WA must understand and respond to emerging technologies and trends by promoting entrepreneurship and driving an innovation mindset.
When we got started, SpaceCube really was an idea and a community of people that saw an opportunity to come together and create a space where ideas could happen more freely and we could support those ideas as a group. The City of Perth saw that that was a great opportunity to really invest in the startup ecosystem where job creation, having more people in the city, having support for local small businesses and startups was a key priority area.
So the way that we define a startup ecosystem is all of the organisations supporting innovators and entrepreneurs in Western Australia. So our startup ecosystem in WA is still quite nascent and emerging. We've seen a really massive increase in activity, particularly over the last 4 or 5 years. And we're now starting to see a whole bunch of programs, not just in Metro Perth, but in regional WA across all sectors. So things like green tech, ocean tech, XR, VR. And so our startup ecosystem is growing in Western Australia. And we have a goal to be the fastest growing ecosystem in Australia over the coming years.
So West Tech Fest is Australia's longest running technology festival, and the City of Perth have been a founding supporter of the festival and has really enabled the growth to get us to where we are today. It's really important for the world to see Perth and the amazing work that is happening in the technology and innovation ecosystem here in Western Australia.
There's plenty of opportunities now to access networks of support. You can come into Morning Startup for free, hear from an entrepreneur and then meet some other people to start your journey. You can go along to a startup weekend and build a startup over a 48-hour period. The landing pads, so people setting up in WA get access to both space and support to grow their ideas and mentoring.
We know now that you can start and grow and scale a business from anywhere in the world, and why wouldn't you want to do that from the City of Perth? It has everything that you want. It has all of, Western Australia's natural beauty. We are seeing this. We are seeing lots of entrepreneurs move back to Perth or move home to Perth after being away for some time, now that they can grow and build. Our entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem is thriving. It is one of Australia's fastest growing ecosystems. It really has all the core elements to build, grow and scale.
I think Perth is a city of opportunity. So it's not only one of the most beautiful places in the world, it's also a fantastic city to build and commercialise ideas. And I think we often undersell ourselves in the amount of great work that's actually happening in our city and in the broader state.
Perth is a place to start your idea and then scale its impact globally.
Perth is the best place to start and grow a business. Best place on earth. I want to say that.
Well, with that great video, it's now my very great pleasure to introduce the Deputy Lord Mayor of Perth, Councillor Clyde Bevan, to officially open the event.
Thank you, Phil. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here today at the AI Innovation Summit between Australia and Indonesia, an important initiative delivered by Innovate Australia. It's appropriate that I should be here talking about innovation and technology because it was some 52 years ago. I'm now 70 years of age, but 52 years ago, I thought calculators were unbelievably good. I just couldn't believe how they would work. Now I have an electric car that talks to me and tells me that I'm speeding. So it is quite amazing how times have changed. And many years ago, when I was chairman of Lottery West, we went to a conference in South Africa, in Durban, South Africa, and we had lots of speakers there. And there was a speaker saying there's going to be jobs in 5 years' time that we haven't even thought of yet. So innovation is really part of our world. The Lord Mayor, Basil Zemplis, is unable to be here today, ladies and gentlemen. He sends his apologies and his very best wishes for today. This event underscores the City of Perth's commitment to fostering international partnerships and collaboration by forging a path forward, a vibrant future and in the realms of technology and innovation for Perth and its training partners in Asia. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. These things never seem to stick on. I would like to especially thank the key contributors to this event and especially thank them for their participation. Lysiana Opranata, Consul General at the Consul General in Perth of the Republic of Indonesia. Mr. Peter Kasperzak, the Chairperson of Innovate Australia. Dr. Adam Mossoran, Director and Co-founder of Innovate Australia and the Chairperson of the Scientific Advisory Board of BrainChip. Phil Turtle, Chairperson of Asia Business Council of Western Australia. And Wilson Tucker, MLC, who will be here later on this afternoon. He's busy in Parliament, I understand. Our guests joining us from overseas and representing Indonesia AI ecosystem, Akman Instramar and Rifki Ujadnan Biziri. Your presence here highlights the collaborative spirit that is driving towards a better technological future for all of us. Today, I want to emphasize how important and vital the role played by emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence is shaping better economic future. AI is at the forefront of global innovation, and this summit offers an incredible opportunity to delve into the advancements and trends in both Australia and Indonesia. As Deputy Lord Mayor of the City of Perth and a councillor of the City of Perth, I'm passionate. I'm an advocate of innovation. I'm thrilled to see how this summit aligns with our city's vision to position Perth as a growing hub for technology and innovation locally and globally. We are proud to support this event and all that it stands for. The AI Innovation Summit is not just a standalone event. It is part of a broader series of 5 international events, all supported by the City of Perth. This event series aims to connect professionals through leaders and policymakers across Australia and Asia, fostering mutual opportunities for collaboration. Today's discussions will explore not only the technical advancements of AI, but also the ethical and social implications that come with such technology. The holistic approach is crucial for ensuring responsible and inclusive innovation. Over the course of AI Innovation Summit event series we will bring together converging perspectives from various countries, including Indonesia, Vietnam, Singapore, Japan, and Korea. Through this, we'll be helping to foster a rich environment for cross-cultural knowledge, exchange, and collaboration. This is essential for harnessing the full potential of AI to benefit our communities. I am proud that the City of Perth has awarded Innovate Australia with funding through our Economic Development Sponsorship Program. This investment reflects our belief in the power of collaboration to drive economic growth and innovation. Today, as we engage in meaningful discussions and networking opportunities, let us remember that the future of AI lies not only in technical advancement, but also how we apply it to improve the lives of our residents and our businesses. Together, we are paving a way for a more connected, innovative future. Now, it's interesting, I discussed earlier, the English say innovative, the Americans say innovative, so you can take your choice how you want to hear it. An innovative future where Perth and its trading partners throughout Asia can together at the forefront of AI revolution and take leadership on a global stage. Thank you once more to Innovate Australia for organising this summit. Thank you to the participants for making it possible, and I look forward to insights and connections that will emerge today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Your words remind me, though, of course, and again, just a vote of personal thanks to the City of Perth, because not only your great support of this series of events, but also throughout the whole international engagement realm. Now, I'm very passionate about our Asian neighbours, but that's across the board, of course. And I even just reflect upon the MOU the City of Perth has with the City of Denpasar, where many of us spend our recreation time, but focusing on the digital and creative economy. And I know my friend Raz at the back of the room is very instrumental in driving that MOU with our friends in Denpasar. Thank you, City of Perth, and thank you, Raz. That then brings me to introduce our next speaker, our very dear Consul General, my friend Ibu Listiana Oprananta, again, Consul General Republic of Indonesia here in Perth. Ibu Listi has served as Consul General of Indonesia here since 2021, and with over 25 years of diplomatic experience. Previously, she was Director for Information and Media at Indonesia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and held key diplomatic roles in Wellington and London. She focuses on strengthening economic trade and investment ties between Indonesia and Western Australia. And I can certainly personally attest to the great work Ibu Listi has done here in her time representing the Republic of Indonesia here. It's a very important time at the moment right now for Indonesia, as only in a couple of days they will be inaugurating their new president, Prabowo Subianto. So there'll be many changes, and we'll be watching that with great interest. But of course, I have been teasing Ibu Listi since she very first arrived here. I said, you know, Ibu Listi, the last 3 consuls general that have been here have gone on to be an ambassador for somewhere. Not putting any pressure on, but I can, and I know it's not spilling the beans because it is in the public domain, but Ibu Listi from this posting will be going on to the very important role as Indonesia's ambassador to Bulgaria. Yeah, I don't think I've said that properly, but please congratulate Ibu Listi anyway on her wonderful success. So with that, and perhaps embarrassing Ibu Listi a little bit, I would like to welcome her to make her remarks. So please, Ibu Listi.
If everyone can see me. I'm a bit particularly challenged, so it's a bit of struggle for me sometimes to make sure that everyone can see me. But thank you so much for that, Phil. And I'd like to obviously welcome everyone here at our office, the Indonesian Consul General. And my name is Listi. I'm the Indonesian Consul General. I'd like to also thank everyone who's organizing this event, and especially to Deputy Lord Mayor, Clyde Bevan. Thank you so much for that opening. I agree with you, sir, that a long time ago, I thought telephone, not a smartphone is amazing enough. And now everything is just gone crazy and very advanced. I'd like to also welcome some of the speaker, Pak Rifki Bujana Bisri, the CEO of Genta Technology, is online, as well as Pak Ahmad Istamar, the AI industry expert and advocate. Also, Dr. Adam Oseran, chairperson of the Scientific Advisory Board at BrainChip Holdings. I'm really excited about what we can talk about in terms of BrainChip. This is really a new technology for me. And of course, I think as Joshua Morley is also on, the Global Head of Artificial Intelligence, Data and Analytics, and also Peter Kasprasak, is that correct? Sorry. No, thank you, and Pak Phil Turtle. Welcome everyone to the Indonesian Consulate. Perhaps for those who's not completely familiar with what we do here, we are the representative of the Indonesian government. So we have several missions around the world. The Indonesian government has several missions around the world, around 132 around the world. And we have about 5 in Australia, 1 embassy in Canberra, 1 consulate general in Melbourne, 1 consulate general in Sydney, a consulate in Darwin, and 1 here in Western Australia. The reason why we have different level of mission is because obviously embassy is representing the Indonesian government as a whole, working with the federal government, and all the consulate general are working with the state government in our mission, our task to cooperate, open up opportunity, and have a discussion and opening up possibility of longer cooperation. And that's what we do here. And I have to say that AI is not really my forte. I'm a diplomat. I've been a diplomat for almost 30 years. My background is political science, international affairs, and I know obviously practically nothing about technology, but obviously I use technology. And as a part of the government official, what we do here is to promote, like I said, the collaboration and a possible cooperation. As you know, Indonesia is a big country, 300 million, almost 300 million population, and we have about more than 2,000 startups, about 16 unicorns startup, and about 2 decacorn. One of them, perhaps you know, is we call it Gojek. Gojek is similar to Uber, but it has much more wider ability, because it's not just transportation or getting your food, but also they have its own separate fintech. So Gojek is very much broad in terms of its capacity and ability as a digital technology. In Indonesia, we also use quite a lot of internet. We have 300 million people. A double of that number are an active user of internet. We're very much active in our social media. So in hindsight, digital technology is something that we use every day. And we talk about AI now. AI is also something that the Indonesian government is pursuing and encouraging everyone to use and to develop and to collaborate. But we do have issue, or maybe not issue, challenges, I should say, challenges in terms of its implementation. First of all, we do have, we need more people with capability in terms of the technology, which is, I think, where as a consulate, we can work with Australia, especially Western Australia, in working to encourage, upskill the capacity of the Indonesian people for technology. That will be first situation that we should perhaps later on discuss. Second is technology itself. So not only we need more people to understand the technology, we need innovation. We have a lot of innovation. I think, to be honest with you, when I came here first, what I miss is the easiness of using the technology in Indonesia, because in Indonesia you use Gojek, you just call and then you order food, you get it very quickly, you buy things and then you can get it in 2 hours time. We don't have it here. So we have plus and minus in Indonesia and in Western Australia, and I think that there is something that we can learn from each other. So the core technology itself, I think we need to develop together. The third part is obviously the policy. As a government, we encourage the use of digital technology very prudently. We have quite a lot of rule and regulation on that, and specifically we have a ministerial strategy in terms of using an AI. But obviously, AI is still a new thing for all of us. We still need to develop it. We need to discuss and talk about it. And we have similar challenges, I guess, as middle power. Australia, Indonesia are middle power. We have similar challenges. We have issue in climate change. We have issue in terms of how we deal with health and services. We have all that kind of issue, and I think we can learn from each other. We can work within each other and to focus on what is our strength and then combining it. As a diplomat, we have a mandate, what we have to do in different states. My mandate as a consul general is in Western Australia is to work with the businesses here in all sector. But because we understand that Western Australia is very much a stronghold of mining, so we focus on that. And the digital technology or the technology part mostly are the mandate of my colleague back in Melbourne. So we have a lot of hubs from Indonesia, startup, digital technology, e-commerce. Everyone are going to or already have a footprint in Melbourne. This is where I'm very happy when Peter and also Phil reach out to us and present with the fact that you have a big community in terms of digital technology. You have a big community in terms of AI. Why don't we use this community? Why don't we talk about it, sit down and discuss? And Perth is just what, 3 hours from Denpasar, 4 hours from Jakarta. So our connectivity is much more better and higher compared to our friends and family in the eastern state. I might be Indonesian because because I've been here for almost 3 years or more than 3 years, I feel like I'm Western Australian. So I feel like I need to also promote the collaboration and the capacity of Western Australia. So we have to take advantage of this. We have to take the advantage of, you have a lot of research center in battery, in electric vehicle, many. I've spoken to so many people in Curtin University, in Murdoch, in UWA, many institutions, and they have that capacity. But I don't think the fact that Indonesia is a big country with a strong digital technology footprint is quite known here. Maybe some of you would know, but not all of everyone. And vice versa, in Indonesia, we know Western Australia. If you want to go to maybe Rottnest Island, but no more than that. So we need to elevate that. We need to make sure that our stronghold, what we're good at, is there. It's in the radar. So I'm here to promote each other, promote my country, and also to help build that bridges, build that stronghold to be a bigger stronghold. Indonesia at the moment, like Pak Phil said, is nearing to the changing of government. So it is this Sunday. This Sunday, the new president is going to be inaugurated, and we're going to have a new minister. And I think one of the priorities that is the priority of our president is also to work on digital technology. And he mentioned also specifically the AI is something that he's looking into the possibility of collaborating. So on top of everything else that we have, I think we need to work on specifically on how to elevate the capacity of the people, both in Western Australia and Indonesia, in terms of technology, how we can share our technology ability to innovate. And the third part is also to help each other in terms of building a policy, building a ethical or trustworthy AI, trustworthy digital technology within our premises. So I think that would be what I'm going to say. Maybe later on we can have a discussion, but again, welcome to our office. I hope we can have a good discussion, and thank you very much.
Well, thanks very much, Bulisti. I note that you say you consider yourself a West Australian now, but I know with perhaps a tinge of sadness, you're actually going to be leaving 2 daughters behind to study here in Western Australia. So at least we won't lose that connection. Just on a slight departure, we are aware that the Deputy Lord Mayor does need to get back to the important business of the city. So with that, I'd just like to get Peter to say another couple of words. So.
Yes. So before we go, I just want to genuinely say thank you. No, because all this is happening. Thank you for hard work once again, Raz and Marlon over there. Wave. Yes. So No, it's really good to see how helpful these people are. So just want you to know that, you know, we actually spend time actually working on stuff and making sure that this happened and happened in a way that actually you guys satisfy as well. And you know, slowly we're building Western Australia as a sort of place for innovation. As you can see on the license plate over there, this is our aspirational license plates, which we created 8 years ago. And we've been giving to politicians and other people, still hoping that eventually it will happen in Western Australia. And it's like, you know, it's like labeling theory. Once you put the label on somebody, they start acting the label. So if we do that, you know, like for over 20 years, we didn't have anything on our license plates because people were arguing, oh, no, I'm not going to do this. Oh, no, no. Why don't we just do it? You know, fine. If you want to change it 5 years from now, fine. But let's do it. And, you know, there are a lot of programs actually right now that's supporting, and City of Perth also supporting. You saw in the video, the guy named Brody, my colleague, that's he started Space Cubes. And that's over 10 years ago. So with Adam, we're Innovate Australia have not existed yet officially, but we're visiting and, you know, just Space Cube, which is placed in the city. And they were talking about morning startup, and morning startups every 2 weeks, you can go get a free coffee, really good coffee. And actually participate in, like they said, morning startup, which again is co-funded by City of Perth as well. So, and you have entrepreneurs, you get fantastic people actually talking about you know, just startups and innovation as well. So yeah, once again, can you all guys all give a big round of applause to City of Perth? Thank you. And I want to mention, I'll tell you later that you know, it's a one of 5 events as well. So there's a whole series that actually City of Perth is helping us as well. So thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter, and thanks again, Deputy Lord Mayor. Okay, well, that technology permitting, that brings us to the first of our panelists and speakers today. We will be holding our questions over until we assemble a panel again later. So throughout the presentations, if you can just keep in mind some very good questions you can ask when it comes to that time. With that, though, I would like to introduce first our guest presenters joining us from Jakarta on screen today. AI industry expert and advocate Ahmad Istamar. Ahmad is a prominent AI expert and leader with over 20 years of experience in the tech sector. He has led AI-driven solutions across smart cities, big data, and GIS industries. His work partnering with policymakers and industry leaders has driven innovation in Southeast Asia, earning him recognition as a key figure in AI transformation. Having served as an ASEAN regional executive with IBM and now as country head Indonesia of Google Customer Solutions, he leads a high-performance team partnering with digital disruptors through to mature brands, small and large businesses, and media agencies. He holds a Doctor of Business Administration, has studied digital leadership at Cornell University, and has many accolades and achievements throughout his career. Please welcome Ahmad.
Hello. So thanks, Phil. Thanks for the generous introduction. So can everyone see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So sounds good. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Innovate Australia, for hosting this event. Great turnout, distinguished guests attending this event. Peter, Phil, you're amazing. And Bu Listi from the Indonesian Consulate for hosting us. It's a great event. So I look forward to share what Indonesia is doing on AI and to network and to hear out also what are the potential in terms of the partnership. So I'd like to test my slide a little bit. I would like to see if it's moving. Sorry. All right. Just testing. Can you guys see the next screen? So I'm hoping you are on the next slide. So a quick intro about myself. So my name is Ahmad Istamar. My initial is AI. So people are joking, telling me that I like to hallucinate a lot, just like the chatbot. So I guess that's why my wife keeps ignoring me. So just kidding. So it is a topic of my passion, AI and technology. Like Peter has mentioned, I spent the last 20 years working with different companies in Indonesia. So I guess to set the context today on AI and where we are now, I'd like to start with a video.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
What does this remind you of? Schrodinger's cat.
Okay.
When all of these tools come together, it's a powerful combination.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's an entire suite of different kind of possibilities.
Hi, I'm Gemini.
What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London.
Together, we're creating a new era.
So, all right. So as the video suggested, we are now in AI-driven revolution. The world has changed with the steam power. People start generating electricity and IT 1969. And today, AI has changed the face of the world. So a lot of things are happening with regards to AI with lots of potential. So for example, the Gen AI, which is the ability to create new knowledge and new intelligence, has changed a lot on what we are doing. In the past, people who need access to data, they need to be able to have some sort of a familiarity with some scripts, data science knowledge. But now, everyone who speaks English, they are able to access any kinds of data, visualize it, and summarize it. For us who are content creators, we like to edit video, put some sounds on it, create music, but now AI would be able to do everything for us. Online interactions that in the past used to be done by customer service now potentially can be automated with AI. In the context of diplomacy, since we discussed it with Ibu Listi yesterday, within the job of a diplomat, there are challenges, and AI potentially would be able to help in terms of data-driven insights. We know, for example, there are lots of data sitting at social medias, sitting on the internet, unstructured data, data even from the internal corporate system. Data-driven insights would allow diplomats to be able to extract insights and becoming a proactive in terms of the diplomacy effort. In terms of communications, while in the past, we do have translators that can translate languages, but now, not only we can translate languages, we can also translate context. We can translate emotions within the language. We can also translate the body language, signage, the possible context that lies between all the possible communications among diplomats. AI would also allow the diplomats to be able to have access to crisis management capabilities by detecting sign of crisis and would be able to respond to risks in a proactive manners. In Indonesia, AI is growing rapidly. It is driven by rising mobile and internet penetration. We have one of the highest internet penetration and mobile penetration in Indonesia. and then large and youthful populations. The populations are young, so Gen AI is adoption is driven by the millennials. This is a chart given by Coursera that show the proportion of millennials that is dominating the Gen AI adoption on the platform. I like also to talk about the government support, something that Ibu Listia has touched upon. Government in Indonesia, within its vision for Indonesia 2045, has already set 5 focus for AI in Indonesia. One is health, second is bureaucratic, third is education, food security, and smart cities. So these are the 5 priorities, and we do also acknowledge challenges in terms of talent development, nurturing AI talent that is competent and updated, and the ability also to access all the contents and technology on the internet to infrastructure and data. However, Indonesia do have some specific significance in terms of AI. One is obviously Indonesia's potential in terms of digital economy. 82 billion GMV, one of the largest in the region in terms of digital economy. Indonesia itself as a country also has some context with regards to potential of data that can be contributed. For NLP, for example, Indonesia has lots of languages and data diversities in terms of natural resources, demographic, traffic, maritime, lots of things that the data in Indonesia can contribute. One example in terms of GMV materialization is e-commerce. Adoption of AI at e-commerce such as Tokopedia, one of the most popular e-commerce in Indonesia, is the ability to recommend products to customers based on past experience that they have. Toko Cabang is a capability to provide the nearest outlet fulfillment based on the locations, so make the delivery more efficient and faster. In terms of financial, so we do recognize some challenges in Indonesia with a high underbanked individuals as high as 78%, low account ownership as much as 50%. So fintech is rising in Indonesia. Fintech users in 2023, last year, counted at around 88 million. And it is growing, expected in the amount of 350 billion by 2025 next year. Some examples of fintech implementation of AI. Banks provides customized customer service, financial advice to customers using AI. Lending is using AI for credit scoring, risk management, fraud detection, providing credit that are accessible for non-bankable segments, and possibly as a fuel to grow the SME segment in Indonesia. Here, the picture of the CEO of Catalyst, which is the Bank Jago's AI provider at the Google Cloud Summit. In Indonesia also, the adoption of logistics using AI is increasing. Real-time fleet management to improve scheduling, accuracy, and travel safety. My favorite is the Irene AI integration, which actually helps the user to finalize financial reports with actionable insights without actually manually reading and creating manual tables. Within the industry of healthcare, there are also examples, especially in the world of solving diabetic challenges, using data both from sensors as well as some data collection from the field. There are some personalized treatment that can be created using AI to accelerate the drug discovery as well as possible impact positively on diabetes care in Indonesia. Plantation is also benefiting from AI implementation in Indonesia. Precision farming, which goal is to maximize yield, collecting data from drones, sensors, satellite, and field data collection, making sure that every square meters generate the maximum yield. while ensuring the plantation process is sustainable in the long term. So just to summarize, so Indonesian dream is to address real-world challenges with AI. It is solving local problems such as healthcare, agriculture, disaster management, and environmental conservation. And our ambition is to championing AI for social good, which includes social inclusion, economic empowerment, and sustainable development. What we need to move forward is promoting ethical AI that benefiting the society and mitigating risk. So some ideas related to partnership, Australia, Indonesia, and the city of Perth, complementary strength. So as Australia as a country is sixth largest AI research output globally, showcasing AI leadership. Indonesia, which is a very strong posture on digital economy, growing very fast, and it is supported by a thriving startup ecosystem. So the shared potential is to leverage each other unique strength to drive AI innovation. We do have shared challenges. One is the AI skill gaps in Indonesia and Australia. Both are still missing in terms of talents. So there's a potential of joint talent development between the countries. And both countries are still developing also the concept and framework for responsible AI to ensure an ethical AI development. So some three proposed projects that potentially we can explore in terms of AI collaboration for mutual benefit. One is climate change mitigation, which is because this dependence to AI agriculture outputs, climate change is impacting across countries, especially on agriculture, plantation farming. So this is something that we need to mitigate together. And then disaster management. There are potential disaster readiness data and analysis that we can do together, potentially to strengthen the resilience of the cities and the societies in both countries. So thank you. My name is Ahmad Istamar. Look forward for the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. We're very blessed to have you on the presentation today. It's just a shame that not many of us have heard of Google before, so a real shame. With that, though, I would like to introduce our next speaker, also joining us from Jakarta, Rifki Bujana Bisri, CEO of Genta Technology, which specializes in scalable AI tools for large language model deployment. With expertise in natural language processing and machine learning, Rifki has led innovations like the Genta Inference Engine, optimizing AI model performance. Rifki also contributes to AI education as an external reviewer for Decoding Indonesia. Welcome, Rifki.
Thank you for the introduction. So I hope you can see my slides here. All right. Hello, my name is Rifki Bujana Bisri, and I'm the CEO of Genta Technology, and we are working towards we are optimizing the deployment and running of AI models. And you can see it's on our website, genta.tech, or you can see in our new project that's called the Colossal.ai. So I'm going to start with the beginning. So when I was a child, I always imagined when I heard about AI, it's like it's like the robots, the Transformers, the Terminators that destroy the world. I think that's the Hollywood taught us about AI. And then after I learn a bit about AI, it's just calculus and mathematics, and a lot of mathematics in it. And I think it's pretty disappointing because I thought AI was talking machines, but instead it was just of calculus. But then I think it's on 2020 2023, OpenAI goes releasing ChatGPT, and then I think AI suddenly get a lot of cooler. It's like the movies again, except now it writes our homeworks and codes our apps. And I think some of you have already seen these memes. Well, I think we're living in it, because I personally use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Cloud, and a lot of other AIs for everyday use. And I think, as a fun fact, the architecture of ChatGPT is called transformers. It was released, I think it's 2017, by 8 scientists from Google, and then it's still somehow loved by the AI scientists around the world, from Meta, Google, OpenAI, and Mistral, and they are still using this architecture called transformers for their generative AI model that works like ChatGPT. And then in Indonesia itself, I think there's a lot of everyday life that uses AI, including this presentation that I made using ChatGPT. And I think what I thought about AI before, even after ChatGPT release, the creative industry is the least impacted by AI in the future. But then it was actually the first thing that is, I think, most impacted by generative AI, because AI right now can generate images. It can write your emails. It can automate the customer service experience. It can make music. It can do a lot of things in social media, in corporate. It can turn your unstructured data in your corporate into something that have meaning, that you can use, that you can search easily without having to ask one of your employees to search for the data, and then which takes maybe hours to look into your dozens of data. So that's one of the things that I see in Indonesia. A lot of businesses, the use cases in generative AI in Indonesia, especially, a lot of it focus on how it transform unstructured data into something that is more relevant, that can be used by data scientists, by data analysts, by the leaders to make decision faster. It is going to be used in the law, how the judge search through the past records to make decision faster using AI. And then in the creative industry itself in Indonesia, there's some startups that working on it, like Avatar Biden AI, that is aiming to revolutionize AI industry. But why stop here? AI now can read images. It can now generate images. Why don't combine it? And I think that's one thing that is solved in the Google I/O and the OpenAI GPT-4o this years, that they made a real-time AI that can talk like us human. Even I think one of the example they give, they ask the AI to count to 100, and then it takes breath. It takes breath in the middle of it, like just how human. If I ask you to count to 100, I think most of you are going to take some breath in the middle, and it is this can change a lot of in customer service, and actually I think it's actually have already implemented in some of the Indonesian businesses to automate their customer service experience, making it faster and more reliable. But after that, I thought we are going to go to it GPT-5. I mean, it's like a counting. It's like counting GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT 3.5, and then GPT-4. After that, OpenAI just released GPT-4o, GPT-4o Mini, GPT-4o Preview, and then GPT-4 Turbo, GPT for Strawberry, which actually GPT-4o1, but we see, but I think I see a pattern here where large company like Google and OpenAI trying to bring some a sense into AI. It bring the sense of how to hear, how to talk, how to see by using GPT-4o, and then it added the value of thinking by using GPT-4o1, which then what's next? What is the next step after we give the sense and we give the ability to think to AI? I believe the next thing is to make the AI to be able to do action, to ability to interact with the real world. And I think, and this is kind of stuff that is some startups in Indonesia are also working on in creative, in media to automate it. And I think some of content that I see in TikTok and Instagram already automated by this kind of AI that automate making content instead of they manually making it by themselves. And after that, what's next? I believe in the I believe in the near future I will have my own Jarvis, my own AI that run on my device, doing all of my tasks asynchronously. So it's kind of like tons of me doing multiple different jobs at once. It's like running on. It's like what Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, said that in the near future there will be a $1 billion company run by one person instead of hundred of person or thousand of person. But this kind of technology have also a risk in that. With all this cool tech comes some like a real concern. I'm not talking about some Skynet stuff, AI taking over the world, but I'm talking something that I think is already an issue, which is the privacy. The privacy issue, I think it's real. Some of you might have read some books, some movies, or watch documentation that show how dangerous data can be if used wrongly. Even data can control a country. And hopefully, this large company controlling AI right now, it will not gonna be something. It's not going to make AI into something too dystopian, like what happened in Black Mirror. But still, every time we chat with ChatGPT, every time we reply our partner's email, use it, and then ask ChatGPT to refine, make it formal, and etc. Do you think it's only us that read the chat? It's the large company having have all of its data and then refine and then train to for their own AI to be more refined, to be much more accurate. And who knows what is going to use with your data? And some of the companies also have developed smaller AI models. We see, I think, a leading company in the small AI model is Meta, Apple, and Google with Llama models, Gemma, and Apple releasing on-device AI and framework to run it on for developers to run AI easily on Apple's. This smaller AI model, as for reference, I saw your number 1B, 3B, 11B, 90B. The 3 billion parameter or 1 billion parameter model AI is like 1/1000 of the GPT-4 size. And in Indonesia itself, this kind of concept in smaller model have grow into a community of open source. In Indonesia, we have a pretty good community, open source AI community, that some startups, researcher that works on overseas in Indonesia, in some startups, and even some personal are already making their own version of AI model that is trained on Bahasa, and it is compared to each other, and it's pretty good for an AI that is 1/1000 GPT-4. And if you think about it, if an AI model that small can be trained on specific language, especially if Indonesia have hundreds of language, it can also be trained for a specific task. A specific task, like I said before, a lot of me doing different specific tasks that can run in privacy, especially in businesses in Indonesia also yearn for a privacy. They wanted AI, but they also wanted the AI run on their own server, especially if it comes to concerning data involving law and other stuff that cannot go elsewhere inside the companies or the groups. So I believe the future of AI is in the cloud. I think a lot of startups also in Indonesia right now. I see a lot of my friends are currently researching and working to bring AI not only from the central cloud, from Google Cloud, from OpenAI, from Azure, but bring it to their client server with much smaller costs, but still manage their expectation and accuracy using this open source model. Can you imagine the next step? It's not AI run on your server, because not everyone have their own server. I don't have server, but I have a laptop, I have a phone, and maybe next couple of years, I have a glasses that I can use to interact like a phone. And I want my AI to run on that device only without releasing any data. So I believe the next step of AI is not only about its knowledge improvement. It's not only about how it interact, but how it run in your device. So it's going to much safer for you in privacy, but it also can be much more safer for the environment, because I believe large data centers is still needed for training the AI model, but that data center is still needed for running the AI. I think with the smaller model getting smarter and smarter, and you can train it on your own task, on your specific task, it can be bring into your own device, even on CPU. I think Qualcomm already work on it, and a lot of some people in Indonesia also have already experimented it with running their own their AI model even on really small GPU, serving to a lot of customers. That's it for me. I'm Rifki Bujana Bisri. Thank you for the for listening.
Thanks very much, Rifki. Just as Peter's firing up our next presentation, I would like to welcome back Dr. Adam Asiran. I got that almost right, I think, Adam, who we heard from in the opening. Adam is chairperson of the Scientific Advisory Board at BrainChip Holdings, where he is a key figure in neuromorphic computing. His work in energy-efficient AI systems spans diverse industrial applications. And he also serves as president of the Hydrogen Society of Australia, co-founder of Innovate Australia, and technical advisor to several AI startups. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks. And again, welcome everyone. Yes. And I would like again to thank the Consul General Ibu for hosting us today. That's fantastic venue, beautiful, and I can see the food is going to be very interesting after that. So before I start, actually, I was just listening to the previous speaker, and it's a segue to what I'm going to talk about today, and that is the neuromorphic AI. That's the next generation of artificial intelligence. Next generation is actually next in line for some specific applications. So I'm going to introduce a couple of words. I'll be talking about neuromorphic, and I will be talking about edge AI as opposed to cloud AI, and also some other aspects of the direction in which AI is going. Thanks, Peter. Okay, so next, first thing I want to introduce is how our brain works. Because in many languages, computers translate to electronics brain or electronic brain. If you think of other languages, you can understand that the aim, we have always wanted to make an electronic or mimic the brain. The computers that we are using today are a copy of the way the brain works, and we have been always, and we are still trying to, do that in a better way. That's how the brain works. It's made of neurons interconnected via synapses. So I'm not going to go through the whole biological explanation of how it works, but in fact, it's one neuron communicates to a next neuron via electrical signals, which you would understand when you see people wearing the EEG and ECG and actually sensing the electrical activity in our brain. This is the things that is happening. So when am I talking to you now, when you are listening, doing everything, plenty, billions of electrical signals like this are going into our brain, and that's what makes us remember, learn, understand, and that's all these aspects that happens in the brain, the biological brain. And there are chemical reactions that are happening between that neuron on the left and the neuron on the right via what's called synapses. And actually, the brain is not only electrical, it's electrochemical, right? There are chemistry and electrical. And the chemistry, it's actually basically some neurotransmitters that depends on how much electricity is going through because we saw something, because we heard something, because we learned something. This is what happens in the billions and tens of billions of neurons in our brain. Right, so that's how the brain works. What is neuromorphic? Neuromorphic is the neuromorphic AI is that technology that mimics the brain on silicon to make chips or devices learn like the way the brain learns. And basically from this learning, you can decide to do this or that based on this learning. So it's called neuromorphic. Why is that? Neuro comes from the word neuron. Morphic, it's copying or basically mimicking the neuron. So that's the term neuromorphic. And then we talk about neuromorphic AI, but that's basically the holy grail. And that's what the next research is going through to learn from this, the way the brain, we have been learning from the brain. There's still to learn a lot from how the brain works so that eventually we mimic it in a number of ways. We not only want to do supercomputers, we want to do better processors of information of data, right? Now, better in what term? I'll talk to you about later. The brain is a very low power. We only need food that becomes energy, and that energy is used in the brain. It's about 20 watts to do a large amount of things, which is basically, it's considered very low power in the standard of computers and technology. It's fault tolerant. We keep losing neurons in our brain, and we're still here. We're still doing stuff, and we're still doing things, and we're still learning lots of things. Doesn't need programming. We need learning. So we learn exactly the same way as I mentioned earlier, but it's a little bit more complex than that. But that's what it is. We have about 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion synapses. That synapses, if you combine those 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion synapses, combine them in the math that you have, it's C, X, Y. Those who did math would understand that. This is the combination of the number of things that we still remember and learn and continue to learn. That's why how it works, basically. Basically, it is distributed computer and does distributed computer. It's a massively parallel thing. We do lots of things in parallel at the same time. That's fantastic. So that's what we want to do. We want to mimic the brain. Earlier, Rifki was talking about the trend. Where we are now, we are on the left, moving to the right. On the left, this is where the AI is doing. This is where the generative AI is, the ChatGPT and everything is running on data centers, buildings with supercomputers, huge amount of calculators, basically, doing calculation. Not learning, it's a calculation. It's like your calculators or computers. And that's how today's AI is happening. It's fantastic because it's actually made a big revolution, and everyone is, we are gonna evolve very fast thanks to that, because we use those as tools. So this is what's happening in the data centers. Those data centers, we all know, they consume a huge amount of energy. And you need to produce, you have to have this energy available. Now, the trend in using AI is going up and up and up. The need for energy, of course, will follow. So there are some solutions that lots of industry are moving towards: smaller, closer to the user, smaller, maybe like faster, but smaller computing devices. Who hasn't heard of NVIDIA? We all have. A few years ago, no one had. They are actually the core of those. They're developing the technology. They're making it smaller and less power hungry, and that's it's necessary. It's important. Otherwise, we don't know where we're heading. We could be heading into a wall because we may not have enough energy eventually to run those computers, and we will not stop using AI. This is continuing. The trend is to go to the right, where the AI will be running on devices. It's what the earlier mentioned. That's where we would go. It's going to become a part of our wearable devices. We have it in our watches, and I don't know why you call it watch or why we call that my telephone. We have computers, right? You have computers running a number of things in it, and they are going to be running AI, and that's the trend. And I'll be talking about what type of technology started here in Perth. And that's the company that I used to be. By the way, I'm not anymore chair of the Scientific Advisory Board. I was for a few years, I was director, but I'm still involved, and I'm running with some companies or technology to use this technology here. So the data, where is it coming from? This is where the AI will be. So the source of the data is the sensors. It's your cameras, it's microphones, it's all the different type of sensors that are collecting data, and the AI can be done straight next to the sensor at a very low power and a very low latency. So again, sorry, I went back. Here you go. Now, where it's going to be? It's called that trend of AI. It's called edge AI. Edge as opposed to cloud AI. Cloud is where your data is sent to the cloud, basically through the internet, to servers that are placed in different parts of the world, and where big, very complex programs, lots and lots of calculation is happening, and lots of energy is needed to run them. But edge AI is that bringing that capability of doing artificial intelligence as close as possible to where they are needed, to the industry applications, where the sensors are, where the actuators are, to the automotive. Why isn't ADAS or automotive driving industry hasn't developed yet? Because we don't have a real solution for how to do the AI at a very low latency, very low power, very low everything. Until we haven't sorted that, we will not have autonomous vehicles on the roads because it's not reliable enough yet. Healthcare, that's big, that's very big. Medcare, medtech, health tech, and of course, smart houses and lots of numbers. This is where edge AI will be, is already in some application, and it's a trend that doesn't happen overnight, but it is happening. Again, going back to what is the AI main challenges, I've just listed 3, and you will very quickly see energy cost for devices. I'm going to ask who has generated an image on generative AI recently, or has ever? Yeah, image. How much energy do you think it's needed to generate one image? Not a video, an image. So I'll not say it in watts hour, but I'll say it's the equivalent of charging your mobile phone every day for 2 months. That's what is required. It's 290 watt hours. So that's a lot just to generate one image. And imagine someone has to create that energy, bring this energy to allow 1 billion people probably using at the same time. So that's a big challenge. It is a challenge, and lots of big companies are working on it, but it is a challenge, the energy cost. The other one is latency. Again, I mentioned earlier, latency. So when you generate the data somewhere, it goes to the cloud and back. That's very quick, right? When you say, hey, Siri, or whatever tool you use, it seems instantaneous, but it takes a few milliseconds. For autonomous vehicles, it's between accident and no accident that would save in life or not. So that's a problem, and that's a major problem. So latency is an issue. The last one, and we all are concerned, privacy. See, we don't want our data in the cloud, but every time we do something in the cloud, we hope, we cross our fingers that no one is gonna, and grab your data and do something. And it's happening every day. That is a major issue as well. So privacy, energy cost, and latency. A few others, but this is a challenge, and lots of researchers in the world are working on trying to avoid it. The idea is, why try to solve the problem if you can avoid it? And that's where some of the solutions, and that's where I'll be talking about instead of IoT. IoT is Internet of Things, but the new term for AI is AIoT, so Artificial Intelligence of Things. So basically things, which means sensors, small devices, your fridge, your car, toy, anything that is connected can have artificial intelligence on the device itself. So we are talking about AIoT, where usually it's using battery, so very, very low power, and sometimes they're using only energy harvesting. So like if you remember some of the watches, the time you just check your hand and that's it, you've charged it. So this is energy harvesting, enough energy to run AI on some devices. This is real, it happens, and I'll show you some examples later. Next one, latency. So if you have to wait on the information, but if you put the AI on the device itself, you don't have that issue anymore. You don't have that latency. You'll have just a tiny, probably 1 or 2 milliseconds, because that's the delay inside the chip itself, not between the cloud and back. And finally, you've all guessed it, privacy. When the information is treated on the device itself, it's not going anywhere back. It is intrinsically safe and secure, so you don't have risk of your data. That's, of course, doesn't apply in every case, but it applies in lots of cases when the information is collected from somewhere. Finally, the last one is another important aspect is called event-driven computing. When I'll take an example here where we have, say, for example, you're running a video on your mobile phone, and you're running a video with using the traditional AI technology, where it's the images are just blank pictures, nothing on them to see, right? When you run the video on it, what happens is video is running, and the traditional technology processes every pixel on the screen, and every time it consumes energy. So you actually drain the battery for nothing. We don't do that as humans, right? We close our eyes stops, and the brain doesn't consume any more energy for it. We don't hear, we don't listen. So that's different from the traditional technology. When you do using the event-based processing, like the neuromorphic technology I mentioned earlier, you run the video exactly the same one with blank images. It doesn't do anything because it works like the human brain. No events, no need to consume energy. So that's the energy is actually preserved. Eventually what happens is what we call sparsity, and that sparsity is specific to this type of application. Sparsity means very low. So this is necessary, and that's something that we will see happening. So now I'm going to talk about this small company that started here in Perth a number of years. It is small. I mean, it's a startup still. It started here, and it came up with that technology, which is called the Akida. Akida in Greek means a spike. Remember? Spike in the brain? That's because it uses, the idea it uses what's called spiking neural network. So it's a term where the neurons are connected in a network. They're in this specific chip here, there's 1.2 million neurons interconnected. Compare it to the 86 billion neurons in our brain. Again, it's not comparable, but just to give you an idea. But this technology here actually is doing that, this aspect. It's a neuromorphic using spiking neural network, and it is fighting a war of energy, privacy, and latency against big players around the world. But yeah, it's still there, and hopefully it will develop. So there are some aspects here. I'm not going to go into much details how it works. It's very modular. It's a chip. It's an IP, intellectual property, that someone who wants to develop their own, like say for example Mercedes. I'll say it because I'll show you next slide later. They want to develop the automotive, and it's not at all a commercial. So please don't tell me, don't don't say go run and buy shares. It's just an example. If someone who wants to develop, for example, a new mobile phone with an AI on it, then they can get the virtual description of this technology of the chip. They can put it on their own design, and then they make the silicon and make their chip themselves. We call it an IP, intellectual property device. So that's the business, the core business of this company. But now to mention again, I was talking about them. A couple of years ago, Mercedes said that they tested several technologies they wanted something to say, hey, Mercedes, like say Siri, hey Siri, they want to say, hey Mercedes, and they tried different technology, including Akira, and they found Akira much more advanced or more, and the share price went up by the way, that moment, and then went back. But this is a concept car that Mercedes is still developing, and they are using all sort of technologies in it, and this is one of the applications here. Now, this is I'm not going to go into the detail. It's called keyword spotting, but what I said earlier, we all do that when you say, when you're talking to an AI, and say left, right, hi, hello, go up and down. So this is a keyword spotting in a language, in English in this case. But just note the terms in the yellow or orange rectangle on the right. It says 30 microjoule per inference. In terms of AI, this is very low power. In terms of comparison, it's about 4 to 5 orders of magnitude lower than any other comparable technology. So that's 10,000 times lower power consumption, just because it is it's constructed in a different way than the traditional GPUs, computers that we use today. Another term, there are a few other examples. I didn't show them all. Cybersecurity we mentioned earlier. This is an old research that was developed by some group, in fact, showing that you can run cybersecurity on a device like this one when it is connected to wherever you have data sourced. And that means that you can actually run cybersecurity very fast and at very low power, which could be very useful for lots of applications where we need cybersecurity. But that's just an example. Last but not least, this has been announced a couple of weeks ago. It's a technology called Akida Pico, which means that, and as this says, it's meant for consumer electronics, smart home devices, hearing aids, etc. So those low or small devices where we are going to be surrounded. There will be 1 trillion IoT devices with us in very near term, and those trillion devices, they all want to connect to the internet. We want them to connect to the internet to communicate. And that's going to be a massive problem if you don't solve it. And so this is where this trend that my previous speaker was talking about, this technology is called Pico. It's basically similar to Akida, but just give you an idea. That's about it. Thank you very much, Terima kasih, and thank you for listening.
Thanks very much for that, Adam. Oh, Peter's back doing the presentations again. Thanks, Peter. I'll trip over the electronics here. That does bring us to our last presentation before we move to the panel. And it is my pleasure to introduce my friend Joshua Morley, Global Head of AI at CODIS. At CODIS, Joshua oversees an international team of 2,500 experts driving award-winning AI innovation. He's a recognised speaker who provides AI training globally and is a key figure in AI ethics. Joshua's leadership has reshaped the tech and business landscapes across industries. And with that, welcome, Joshua.
Thank you very much for the very generous introduction. No worries. I'll just do my acknowledgements. And so I'd also like to pay my respects to all of the dignitaries and VIPs that have been mentioned so far, and the sponsors especially.
And we have Wilson Tucker.
And Wilson Tucker. Yeah. Thank you for joining. And I'd also like to include and pay my respects to Sean Driver and Sarada Lee, who are two of the founders of Perth Machine Learning Group, which is one of the significant bodies in Perth driving thought leadership and knowledge. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the state of the market. There's a lot of media attention, a lot of reports out there over what's going on, and a lot of it is sensationalized. So I wanted to give everybody something more tangible and kind of cut to the core of what are some key resources talking about the space, what is going on, is there any genuine value that's being realized by the hype that is going on, and then also talk a little bit more about AI in general. I love this map on the right. It's something that we use to acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional custodians, all of them around Australia. And it's a really good one because you click on the link of wherever you live or wherever you're based, and you can go and find out more information about your local region. So I encourage everybody to check that out. It hasn't scaled great. So we are on the brink of one of the most significant periods of technological disruption that we've ever experienced as a species. Does anyone know who said this? Any guesses? Not quite. Me. So, so aside from being a budget version of Henry Cavill, I think the only superheroes in the room is that everybody that can get through this presentation without their eyeballs rolling out of their sockets. So let's go with something more professional for the moment. Instead of that quote, which I have said and I do believe, let's go with this one instead. Success in AI, in creating AI, would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last, unless we learn how to avoid the risks. Does anyone know who said this one? Not me. Somebody a little bit smarter than me. Stephen Hawking, yeah. Because the reality is AI is becoming one of humanity's most significant innovations, and the pace is orders of magnitude faster than anything we've experienced before. So while AI itself has been around for a very long time, and the first AI chatbot was around in the early 60s, the pace of the current paradigm that we're experiencing, which is a little bit of a hype cycle and a self-referential prophecy. The hype is driving investment, which is driving genuine growth and new value realization. But it took centuries for the printing press to reach 100 million people. This is very similar to the slide that was up earlier with Ahmed. Decades for electricity, years for the internet, but it took one product 6 weeks to reach 100 million people. So hello everybody, my name is Josh Morley. There's a few people that I haven't met before. I've got a whole bunch of hats across ACODIS, my day job, where I'm the global head of AI data and analytics. I'm the Responsible AI Chair globally, and then I'm also the chair of the Australian Responsible AI Council. The Adecco Group, a Fortune 500 organization with 60 billion Australian turnover or revenue. I sit on the Global Responsible AI subcommittee of the board, and I'm also a Perth local and a non-executive director at Crosslinks, a disability service provider out of Midland. So here are some figures to kind of cut through that. This is just like, we've experienced a lot of hype recently. And if you do look at my LinkedIn, it's a little bit like buzzword bingo. I tick a lot of the boxes that Gartner supports. Some people say that's strategic decision-making on the direction of my career. Other people say I'm full of shit and I lucked out. But here is some of the reasons why this is very different from the other transformations that we've recently experienced. 12% more tasks completed, 25% faster task completion with a 40% higher quality. A big one I want to call out that's more recent is the 4,500 development years saved as a result of leveraging Amazon Q in uplifting Amazon's internal applications and modernizing them. Just see if I can move this. It's on the speaker screen. It's in the way and I can't read that. There we go. And 79% of the automatically generated code was approved without any changes by the engineers. Another one I want to call out is 40% performance boost of highly skilled employees compared to those not using it by MIT Sloan. This is saying that you can take some of your most skilled, talented, and highest performing employees and add 40% on top of that. So it's all hype. The tech isn't even that advanced, is another thing that we hear. On the left are some of the benchmarks that measure across a slew of different capabilities, baselined against average human level capability. And as you can see, there's only a couple of those benchmarks where the advanced kind of cutting edge models that are available have not yet surpassed human level capability at those tasks. And that's a really important thing to consider. This is not a silver bullet, something that can replace a human. This is something that they are very advanced and very capable at the tasks that they're built to perform. But that power and the ability to now, in some tasks, surpass human level capability is also matched with a massive ongoing decrease in cost. So on the right, you can see in the last 2.5 years, that's 1,000x decrease in relative costs for the same level of performance. So it is getting cheaper and it is getting more powerful. And these continuous hype cycles and investment cycles are driving that. So this page in particular is highlighting Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which I think is interesting as a case study. So it's a half generational improvement on the previous. Claude 3 had 3 models that they offered. There was Haiku, the kind of cheap and fast one. Sonnet was the balance between performance and cost. And then Opus was their state-of-the-art kind of forerunner that was high performing but higher cost. And in a half generation, Sonnet 3.5 Sonnet would outperform Opus by up to 20% in some tasks, but it was 1/5 of the cost to run. This is a half generation, about 9 months of development. So there's a lot of speculation going about what's tomorrow entailing. We're seeing astronomical growth, capability in this space. Are we on the cusp of super intelligence? Or where are we going to reach? Both of these diagrams are actually in a paper published by Leopold Aschenbrenner, who is a former OpenAI super alignment engineer who used to work for directly for the chief scientific officer before kind of him and everybody in that team left or was fired. And it kind of maps the progression that the GPT models have had over the last, or since 2018, and then projecting where at the current rate and historic rate of progression, where that's going to lead to in 2028 and 2030 in this paper. It is a very interesting read. I encourage everybody to check it out. It's 160 pages and it gets a little bit political towards the end. But it is really eye-opening from a sense that you can interpret what is going on with a new lens. I don't have the other image because if you look at the right-hand side of that where it says by 2027, we can achieve an AI model that is as capable as a postdoctorate level researcher. There is the hypothetical scenario posed in that paper that if you have an AI that is as capable as a postdoc researcher and you set that AI on researching itself, will there be what's called a superintelligence explosion event? Whether there will be or won't be is up to everybody's personal opinion and ultimately what will come. But I want to talk more about what is happening rather than what could potentially happen. And one of the big things that are happening is the more widespread use of AI agents. And historically, agents was quite different from the terminology that's used now. Now it's kind of any kind of AI model that you can equip with tooling. This might be access to external data sets or the ability to create code that will allow them to access external data sets. But they can act autonomously or semi-autonomously. And this is one of the significant drivers of change in the future that we will see. At the moment, a lot of people are probably familiar with the chatbot interface. You ask a question and it gives you a response. Where the agentic future is the ability to assign jobs rather than tasks. At the moment, AI is quite good at some tasks that it's been built for. It's quite poor at jobs, which can be decomposed into tasks. But an example of performing a job rather than a task is something that I've built for my PhD research. And I will allocate, and I will say, I want you to research this topic. The agent, or the controlling agent, will decompose this job into multiple subtasks and then hand them off to individual purpose-built agents. There's a research one, there's a fact-checking one, there's a compliance one, a privacy and security one, if you think about it from an enterprise perspective. So there's not going to be any personally identifiable information, anything that's released, that kind of stuff. All of those agents will go off and perform those tasks semi-autonomously. They might check back in and say, I'm now at a breakpoint. I need this input from you as the human controller, but it can perform those tasks semi-autonomously or autonomously, depending on your risk appetite. But I would encourage everybody to read the two large papers, or collections of thought leadership is probably more accurate. The leftmost is the paper I referred to earlier, and that's also where I've taken a whole bunch of the the reference, the images for this. The middle one only came out a couple of days ago. So Dario is the one of the co-founders of Anthropic, which created the Claude series of models. He's also OpenAI, and he released a 60-page thought leadership piece that talks about the optimistic future of AI. There's a lot of sensationalism, there's a lot of pessimism, but he talks about the potential for AI to help in, especially in research tasks, in biology, in infectious disease, in anti-aging, things like this. If you want to get a little bit more technical, I've put down some of the key papers that have contributed towards what is the current state. So Attention is All You Need is the paper that introduced the transformer, of which was vital for the creation of the current landscape and GPT models. Large language models and few-shot learners followed with Constitutional AI, which talks about the idea that in responsible AI, we often retrofit our own values onto these kind of more realistic representations. It's a constant area of research in AI. How do we reflect an idealistic world rather than a realistic world? Because the models are ultimately trained on decades of, potentially decades of historical data. And there's a lot of biases, prejudices, and things that is stored in that data and is historically realistic. It's realistic because it happened, but it's not where we are as a civilization now, and it's not what we want this AI to replicate going forward. So the idea of constitutional AI is that you write a series of ground truths at the beginning in this constitution, and you build the AI around it. And so that's a potential solution for that. Then you look at Palm E, and this is about the applications of these models in robotics. As I'm sure a lot of people saw the Tesla marketing videos from the human augmented Tesla robots from a few days ago. Segment Anything, which was vital for computer vision. And then Textbooks Are All You Need was a recent, well, last year, Microsoft reference to the earlier paper. I want to quickly talk about a CODIS AI Academy. This was an initiative that I came up with jointly with Microsoft. So about a year and a half ago, Microsoft came to us and said, AI is exploding. We recognize the value, and we can see now Amazon Q, when Amazon leveraged it for their developers, they've now saved 4,500 development years. A year and a half ago, when I was talking to Microsoft, they said, can you write a course on how developers can learn to use AI to develop? Because we realized there will be efficiencies gained. And I said, absolutely, happy to do that. I've got a background in lecturing. But I think developers will have probably the least issue taking this technology up. It's going to be business leaders. It's going to be your non-technical peers. And then I throw in an advanced developer one for fun. But we've now delivered this training to over 12,000 people in 12 countries. I've delivered the executive level training in 4 countries to about 150 people, and we've trained about 600 executives globally in AI and to the appropriate level of knowledge. Those are some of the people that we have done, but I think the training and education is one of the vital pillars of successful adoption and value. The technology is just one piece of the puzzle. You need good cultural adoption. You need good governance, risk management, and strategic alignment, and you need that training and upskilling. This is a personal plug. I also deliver courses for small to medium business owners, board directors, and then particularly innovative executives as well. So thank you very much. I hope that that was valuable and gave you a little bit more resources on how to think about the current state of the market. Cheers.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Josh. I just would acknowledge that we are running just a few minutes over time, so we are going to get through the Q&A, and as people asking questions, I would encourage some short, punchy questions, and from our speakers also some short, punchy responses as well. Peter also has reminded me we do have an exciting door prize today. I'm not sure how many of you may have put the card in the bowl, but I think we're going to pass the bowl around the room for anybody who hasn't. Just be careful with the bowl. It is glass, and this floor is particularly unkind to glasses being dropped on it. So, there's a plastic bowl. There's innovation. Well done, Peter. Well, with that, I would like to welcome back our panelists, our speakers. Ibulisti, if you could perhaps join us. Adam also, myself, and Josh, of course. Sorry. And I hope we still have our 2 speakers with us from Jakarta. I'll grab this in one, Josh, if you can move on. Okay, everybody grab a microphone. I think they're all, there you go, Listy. I will take just a bit of MC's prerogative, and perhaps just to make sure our guests in Jakarta are still online with us. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Josh had mentioned the topic of AI agents, but I am going to ask Pat Rifke a question about that, which Peter had prompted me on. And Pat Rifke, if you're still there with us, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, Rifke. Well, I hope this question doesn't come as a big surprise, but we just wonder how you might see AI agents, changing our lives for the better.
I think AI agents even right now it's already changing our life. I myself, as a student, as an engineer, I use AI agent a lot in my coding and in doing even making the presentation, and it cannot only do by simply asking the AI directly. It needs a lot of part of AI that have to interact just like us human have to interact with the internet. How they are interacting with our code base, how they have to interact with the application, etc. So these AI agents that have a lot of implementation, already a lot of startups are already going with a lot of implementation right now. I think it's not going to change our life. I think it's already changing our life of how we interact and we interpret. How do we do codings? We change a lot of it. How do we how do we write a presentation, how do we message our friends, our college, and it's all with the help of AI agent. And as I have talked in my presentation before, the next step is not only giving the AI sense, it's also giving the AI a form and interaction to the real world that so it can do much more than what we have right now. We can ask him to do something as human do that have to interact with the environments. And I think a lot of big corporation like Nvidia, Intel's, and Hugging Face, Tesla have already working on towards the body of the AI. And it's not maybe in the future, it's not only like me right now. Maybe it's a hologram in the Zoom, but it's also a robotic form that can interact with the real life.
Well, thank you very much. And Ahmed, you touched in your presentation on areas of potential collaboration, and you talked about Indonesia's propensity to have terrible natural disasters. And I just wonder how you see AI's role in helping address some of those very important regional issues.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think we all want to implement AI for the benefit of mankind. So I guess one of the past example that we had in Indonesia, like an earthquake happening in Sulawesi. So at that time, we needed a way to quickly understand how many houses were impacted, how many people were displaced, and what are the possible mitigation like to building a safe zone in the future, right? Obviously, first option is we can send people on the ground doing a survey, but with AI technology, we can send out drones, or we can use recent satellite imagery and analyze the image before and after. So this is an example of post disaster, but what I believe we can do more in terms of collaboration is also work on ways we can establish capabilities to better understand how we can improve the readiness and resilience of our community by using data, such as data being sourced from the public, like open source data sourced from the government, like weather, like satellite imagery, also data sourced from the city, like in terms of the city design, city landscape, city planning, and then understand how we can model the city better in the future through resilience using AI. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. And the last of my questions, Ibu Listi, I'm going to throw you in. When we chatted earlier, you were talking about uses of AI and diplomacy and other things, but I just wonder from your own personal perspective where you see the opportunities for collaboration in AI. I think that's on now. Yep.
Thank you. As I said, as mentioned earlier, I think the future collaboration obviously is quite still big. There's still a lot of opportunity that we can delve in, we can work with. In terms of collaborating between country, as a Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we already organized quite a lot of events together with the government of Australia, the federal government of Australia. About 5 years ago, we organized what we call regional conference on digital diplomacy. So as a diplomat, we also try to use all things technology, all things digital. As I mentioned, I think with Pak Ahmad and Pak Phil yesterday, the world of diplomacy is a very secretive world. We don't really reveal anything until it's agreed, until it's decided by both countries. But then again, with the coming of technology, with the coming of so many products of technology which can lessen our burden in terms of what we do, there's also the threat of losing those secrecy. We're not doing it because we want to be secretive, but we have to do it because some of the agreement in diplomacy is actually has to be secretive at first before we can reveal that. So we try to work on that issue with a lot of government, including with Australia. We work on the wording of Privacy Act. We also work on the how we can face this challenge of leak or hoaxes, things like that. And during the regional conference on digital diplomacy, we also work on the possibility of collaboration within the region, not only bilaterally, not only within Indonesia and Australia, but also around the region. So we invited ASEAN countries to be also involved. We come up with quite a few of workshop, discussion, exchanges, and then quite a few. But as I mentioned, collaborative act is very much there. It's just what we can do together. So we have to come to the finest detail of what is the implementation, what sort of collaboration that we can do. My colleague in Eastern State in Melbourne are very much more advanced than us here in Western Australia in our office here in terms of their collaboration. I'm really looking into the possibility and really looking forward to have that type of close collaboration, research collaboration. I know the battery center, I forgot the acronym, but with Shannon O'Rourke, he's also working with quite a lot of Indonesian battery technology, working on the possibility of collaboration. It's still in process. The MOU was signed, I think, 2 years ago. They're working on the implementation of those collaborations. So the possibility is big, and a lot of examples are already there. We just need to make sure that we know what we want to do. Like Pak Ahmad mentioned, there's a lot of aspects that we can work together: disaster management, climate change, agriculture, mining sector, lots of things.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Felicity. With that, I would throw questions open to the floor. If you do have a question, though, please introduce yourself and let us know who you're directing your question to. So any hands thrust into the air back there? Oh, yes, please. This microphone coming your way.
Firstly, thank you everyone for your words today. It's been really insightful. My name's Daniel. I'm from Org Atlas. It's a startup I've recently just kind of quit my job to pursue, but it does use a component of AI. And a lot of the conversations I'm having with potential clients at the moment generally get to a point of privacy. So I suppose, Adam, really like what you said about Edge AI. I've actually been following an early investor in BrainChip about 5 years ago. But Josh, this question's kind of for you in point of like the conversations you have as a trainer. What kind of advice do you give to your students about privacy, how to communicate this in the business sense, I suppose?
Yeah, it is a really good question and an important one as well. I suppose the first thing is that understanding that if you once you put something up into a cloud centric AI model, unless there's a specific enterprise agreement, it will go into training their model for further performance enhancements or whatever they use it for. And there are some really good examples of where corporations gave their employees permission to use these tools, like the Samsung leak. Samsung engineers were given permission to upload confidential internal schematics and engineering documentation for a next generation device into the publicly available ChatGPT. So that is available for anybody with the right prompting to gain access to. So there's the complete loss of that ownership of IP as a result of it. So the first is just an understanding and awareness that unless there's a specific agreement put into place. So the group Global Responsible AI committee that I'm a part of is very well constructed, very diverse. So I think we have our chief legal counsel. I couldn't list off everybody, but almost every facet is covered. I'm the token tech guy on the council, but it means that every time we're reviewing something from a responsible use perspective, it's the legal obligations of not only ourselves but also the partner are considered, and often one of the key considerations is the privacy and confidentiality of the data that as a corporation we're going to put in. So yeah, the awareness, the understanding of what the agreement is. Anybody that uses ChatGPT Pro, you maintain no confidentiality of the data that you put into that. It's only the teams and the enterprise plans. Or if you're a pro user, you can go in and turn it incognito mode. And it means that you no longer have chat history. So they realize the value of that data that they're putting in, kind of the suppliers of the technology, and they want to gain access to it. So yeah, kind of very roundabout answer to your question, but an awareness and understanding of what your agreement is with the supplier, and then having that front of mind is the three things that I kind of instill in the people that take the course.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
May I add some? If you know what you've gotten much better at privacy, especially like with like factor identification, for example, for some of the aspects of using. Yeah. Did you hear my first part? Okay. So I said like legal, also educational and technical. Basically, well, if you can avoid having the problem in the first place, that's much better. That's how you build the system if you can. But if you're using the things, when I use ChatGPT, I replace some of the terms that so that it doesn't, it doesn't make any more sense to anyone who wants it to. So it's again educational how you are using this tool, which is fantastic, but it's nothing but a tool. So you have to make sure that how to use the tool so that it doesn't hurt you there eventually. So thank you.
We have a bit.
Hi, I'm Suku, Associate Dean, Strategy and Partnerships from ECU. We've got some work with that we've been doing research as well with AI maturity and readiness for small, medium industries. This is probably targeted for little companies. We'd love to see if we can get some collaboration or research done with Indonesian counterparts, just to see how to proceed and if there's any avenues for that. Thanks.
Well, they're sorting out the mics. I might quickly say, good on you. I think that for innovation, you have to have the 5 pillars of kind of founders. We talked about this earlier. Founders, investors, academia, government, and enterprise. I think in WA, it's a fairly unique environment where we don't have a lot of collaboration between enterprise and academia. But yeah, and the universities. Yeah, good on.
Ask privately afterwards. Sorry, again, we have musical microphones here. Yes, sorry, in the interest of time, we'll cut that off now. Please thank all of our speakers here in person and also on the screen in Jakarta. I know that this is very important in Indonesian tradition, particularly. Peter will join us now. There's some gifts for our speakers here. But Pa Ahmed and Rifki, I'm guaranteed that something is winging its way to you in Jakarta. Peter's possibly delivering it in person. And of course, we'll get the photo with the speakers as well. Yeah, we'll get you're going to flank the screen so you can see the speakers as well.
Very good.
Well,
just for a second. So please don't go away yet. We're gonna take a quick photo and just few announcements at the end. So I promise it's gonna be very quick. And guys, thank you very much once again. Really appreciate it. Can everybody give him a round of applause? Thanks. Is this for the draw? So yeah, of course, yeah. I'll go with my Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Just a couple brief announcements, which I just had in my pocket. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we're going to be organizing, like I said, this is one of the series of 5 events. November 12th, we will be organizing also a similar event with Vietnam. And then next year, we have 3 events. In February, we're going to have Singapore. In March, we get Japan. And in April, we have South Korea. So yeah, definitely please participate. It's, as you can see, it's fantastic. You know, this is our inaugural, so really grateful actually to the council, and I also want to thank all the staff, and you know, especially we have a lot of help. Ganis, where are you? Yeah, she's there, but oh, okay, there you are. Yeah, and all the staff, especially over the last couple of days, actually we did all the setup. So thanks for that. And, oh yeah, yeah, thank you. Really appreciate your help. Very quick draw prize. Okay, come. Yeah, yes, of course. Just one. Yeah, door prize. Yeah. Dimitri, hey. There you are. Congratulations. Yeah. Okay. Some of you didn't get picked. Okay, it's a lesson to have business cards. I know people think it's antiquated and all this, but I have to tell you, okay, I still feel it's a good sort of reminder. You know, sometimes you meet someone and you replace exchange cards. It's, you know, if you do fun, you forget simply. So it's actually a good thing to come to networking events with. Yeah. So look, and big hand for Phil. Hey! Yeah, very good. Yeah. So look, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you next month. Stay here for refreshments, please. Have some wine. I purposely open every wine because otherwise, you know, people don't want to open. Okay, so last thing I tell you one thing, don't move. Yeah. Just remember something that Rifki said actually about, you know, in the future, there's going to be one person actually running the multi-billion-dollar company. There was an event we were doing some time ago about future of work. And I was showing the example that one of the, from United States, one of the authors, he actually, he came up with the saying that the future factory gonna have only one man and one dog. And the man is there to feed the dog, and the dog is there to make sure the man doesn't touch any buttons. That's it. Yeah. Okay, on this positive note, thank you. Yeah. Hey.